What's going on, everyone? Thank you for joining us for the Code X Creators series, where I sit down and talk to other content creators in the comic book community. And I am so happy today to have one of my favorites that have been doing it, BSoloBooks. Brandon, thank you so much for taking the time out to do this today, man.
Yeah, man, I appreciate you having me on here, man. I'm excited to be here, bro.
Oh yeah, trust me, it'll be a fun time. And for anybody that needs to find him, obviously BSoloBooks is where you can find him. We'll talk about more of that at the end of the show. But let's get into this. So let's kick it off with, your comic book origin. Like, what got you into comics to begin with?
All right. So I'm relatively new into collecting and reading comics, but I've been a closet nerd most of my life, and then more recently came out to like full blown wearing nerdy shit. I'm wearing a Star Wars shirt right now, and
Yeah.
that's my personality now. Is I'm a nerd. So in April, I decided that I'm going to start actually reading comics. But we talked before this, and you kind of hinted that you're going to ask this question. So I actually found the first comic book I ever bought, and then I also have the first comic book that I read back in April. So the first comic book I actually bought, man, Supreme. I still haven't read this. I don't even know why I have it. But
so these are your Genesis books. These are the books that brought you in.
Yeah, exactly. This is, any kid that's ever started collecting comic books, I'm sure you can relate. Like, I saw the cool cover, it's shiny, and I was like, ooh, I want to read that one. And that's kind of what got me started into collecting nerdy stuff. But what really made me want to start reading comics, Doctor Strange of Asgard. And if you guys have been reading comics for a decent amount of time, this is relatively new. Like, this series is only on like issue 5 right now. So, Doctor Strange of Asgard pulled me in. I'm kind of a Doctor Strange fan, but I was just interested in it. I picked it up and I was like, I really like this. So yeah, I just started reading. I started all out Marvel, and then that kind of, through TikTok, people started telling me, you got to check out DC. And then once I introduced myself to DC, everybody's like, you got to check out Image. And now I'm everywhere, man.
Yeah, it's an addiction that many people are not prepared for. Like, it's costly, it's fun, it's entertaining, it takes you out of your realm. It does so many things for the psyche. Like, it's unbelievable. And like I said, I was gonna say, you picked up a great book. If you're not reading One World Under Doom, I would check out Blood Hunt before that, because this kind of leads into obviously what you're reading right now. But hey, I mean, like, being new to it, great starting point, great pickup. And me and you have conversations even on TikTok primarily. You just jumping into different types of publishers and different types of story arcs and different characters, varieties. You're tasting all the flavors,
exactly.
Which is great for anybody that's even starting. So with that being said, is there a publisher right now, since you're new to this and it's a great opportunity for you, is there a publisher you're leaning more towards? Like, you see yourself like, hey, I grabbed this more than I grabbed that,
Yeah, I got 2 of them off the top of my head. I am maybe TikTok's biggest fan of Bug Wars.
Oh, everybody's a fan of Bug Wars, man.
So Jason Aaron, got to give him a shout out, and then obviously one of the goats, Robert Kirkman.
Oh,
everything he does is just gold. So both those writers, man. Anytime I see that name on there, I have to grab the book and give it a shot.
Oh yeah, no. One of my favorite books that I will reread every time, I think it went 32 issues, is from Kirkman. It's through Image. Is Oblivion Song. If you haven't checked that out yet, dude, check that out. It is mind blower. Probably what really got me into the indie scene, aside from Saga, is that book alone.
Okay.
But
yeah, Saga's on my list too.
Saga should be on everyone's list.
I gotta get it. I gotta get it, man.
No, it's definitely one of those ones that will. Brian K. Vaughan is just insane on that book. Like, the things you think you can't take to the next step, he takes to the next step. Like it, and there's that. I call it the independent break, where they do 6 issues, take time off, do the next 6.
Yeah.
He waited almost 3-4 years to restart that title, and I was gnawing at the bit, like trying to be like, "Can you just do this already? 'Cause I want to know what because he left it at a point where I don't think that most people could stand.
Yeah.
Like it was a big thing that happened in the book, and then they just stopped for like 3-4 years, and it killed everybody. It's like, what happens next, dude? Come on, you can't do this to us.
Yeah, I feel like right now with Ghost Machines with Jeff Johns, because he's writing so many stories. You know, he does that like you just said, like he does 6 and then goes to the next story and then writes 6, and then it's like,
well, the only one he's doing that with right now is Rook. Everything else is pretty much ongoing for him. Rook was that's my book. My second one is Hyde Street, and I think I recommended that one to you when you were talking about it. But those ones, oh my god, like you can't miss with those. Anything Ghost Machine wise is just been knocked out of the park.
Yeah, and I think Hyde Street's up there. Geiger's definitely up there. Redcoat surprised me, man. I'm not like this huge history buff, but I read the first trade for Redcoat like last week maybe. And dude, I want more.
Yeah, I'm gonna tell you right now, as the guy that's getting all the single issues, it gives you everything you want and more. Like it's even hard to rank them for me. It's like I just put in the column of Ghost Machine and go from there.
Yep, I'm trying to get 100% on everything Ghost Machine. There are like I'm a little bit behind on Redcoat. I only read the first trade. Rook, like you said, Rook got left on a cliffhanger. I don't want to spoil it for anybody that hasn't read it yet, but it got left on a like, hey, this guy is about to do something crazy. We're about to find out.
Yeah, you're about to find out in the next 6 months.
Yeah, I think November, right?
Yes, I think it's the end of November. So I'll be ready for that as soon as it comes out. Now, with you reading all these titles, is there in your history of reading, is there a title or a character or publisher that is the one you'll go back to? Like you'll always have that one in your heart that you're a fan of.
Yeah, I mean, if are we talking about like characters, or
it could be realistically anything? If there's a character that sits with you well, or a story, or something that you can reread, over and over again.
Well, I think so. Hulk is probably my favorite character, but there's so much Hulk out there that it'll take me years to catch up. But Blade is like my dude. Like I've read everything Blade that's come out for like the last 5 years. I'm still working my way back into like his older stuff. And I just recently, a cool thing about the TikTok community, bro, I've told everybody that I'm big on Blade, and somebody that lives local actually dropped off Blade comic books at my LCS. And it's like, side note, the community is super supportive, right? But yeah, Blade is my guy, man. Anything with Blade in it, I'm picking it up for 100%.
Yeah. I mean, like, even like we were just talking about Blood Hunt with him being incorporated in it, is just, it was killer. Like no way in pun around it.
Yeah. Well, like you said, and a bunch of people keep telling me this. Because I started in April. A bunch of people are like, dude, you picked a perfect time to get into reading. Like right now, so many comic books are like blowing up, and how many, there's like 8 ongoing Batmans and 7 ongoing Supermans. And
there's so Batman's been like that since I can remember. Like since I've been collecting, Batman's always been like that top tier. Hey, you're going to have about 8 to 12, either main or solo or mini, issues going out. But let's get into the content creator side of you. Now, you have the ball in your court right now. You are new to this. You are the person that people should be going to for reviews for what you're picking up, because you have that eye that everyone else wants to see trying to get into this kind of, realm of things.
Yeah.
What made you decide that, hey, I want to start making content about this passion?
So I've always had that itch to be like an entertainer, and I've streamed on Twitch for a double digit years, a long time.
Mm-hmm.
And I was really starting to get into book talk near the end of last year and beginning of this year, but I really don't read too many books. Um, so when I first picked up comic books and started reading them, and I just realized that, like, I'd sit there and read 4 or 5 comic books in a sitting without even thinking about it.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, this is something that I could get into. And then, the more I got into watching different creators on TikTok, and, I'm a horrible person. I don't remember exactly who I started watching at first, but
Right.
I love the engagement. I love the entertainment value. I loved finding out on a weekly basis. Every Wednesday new comic books come out.
Mm-hmm.
I loved finding out from people that I enjoyed watching what comic book to get and which ones to pick up that have already been out and which ones to avoid. And the creators that came before me really kind of made me want to do this, because I wanted to share my journey of starting and growing my knowledge of comic books, and then also be that guy that people can come and be like, hey, how do you get into this, or where do I start in this series, or I'm growing in the knowledge department, but the entertainment and information part, I want to be that guy, and I enjoy, like I said, putting smiles on people's faces. That's, if I can make people laugh, that's like one of the biggest things for me.
Oh yeah, no, I 100% agree with that. If you can make somebody laugh, it just changes the course of everything.
Yeah, and that's, well, I'm trying to incorporate comedy into my stuff.
Yeah, I try to as well. It's hit or miss with some people, as always. Yeah. Some people find it hilarious. Some people find it's like, it's just a shtick, and yeah. You gotta take the good with the bad sometimes. But real quick, I did want to get into one thing. We kind of talked about it previously, is that you are a vet. So first off, thank you for your service. We all appreciate it here. We all love the fact that you did what you did. I do have one question about it though. While you were serving, was there ever a comic book kinship, you would say? Like, could you find issues? Could you talk to people about this kind of thing that you were serving with at the time?
Yeah, a lot of people would be surprised that, like, you look at, because I was in the Marine Corps, so I can't speak intelligently on other branches, but being in the Marine Corps, especially when you're deployed, you really find out about people and like their history and what kind of person they actually are, and not just the front of like, oh, I'm a big bad knuckle dragon Marine, you know what I mean?
Right.
And I found on my last deployment, I was on ship, floating around the Mediterranean. So you're on ship for sometimes 40, 50 days without seeing anything other than the person in the rack next to you. And we actually had a dude on there, a cool little story. His first name's Ian. I can't remember his last name. But anyways, his dad was a publisher for one of the comic book companies, Marvel. And we actually got some free, like, Deadpool stuff got sent out to us for all of us to have in there. And I remember when all the comic books like came into like our common area, everybody was going to grab them, man. Like, they didn't just sit there. Like, there were so many, we'll say, closeted nerds in the Marine Corps, dude. And once you find, your little niche and you're interested in it, everybody comes out of the woodworks and they're like, oh yeah, no, actually I like that stuff too, but I was too embarrassed to talk about it.
Right. No, I get that, because like you said, everyone wants to be the masculine one and first in, last out kind of deal, and to have that aspect transcend to be like, oh, we have a common ground here is everything. Then you can make that bond, you can make that friend in arms. Well, back to more of the content creating thing. Is there like a platform you enjoy more? Because we talked, you're obviously on multiple. Is there one that you feel has been more geared towards you, and if so, why?
Yeah, I think TikTok. TikTok is really TikTok pushes out your content more so, in my experience. Everybody has their own experience, but my content gets pushed out more on TikTok than any other platform, and it's easier to kind of create like a community
Mm-hmm.
for comic books, at least. It's easier to create a community around a certain niche or a certain subject. And I really appreciate they have like built-in tools into TikTok that make it easier, because I'm not good at editing. So I can go into the TikTok studio and they have preset overlays and different ways to cut it, and they allow you to like when I make my my new comic book calls, I record 3 different videos. I record my like it's new comic book day, that type of thing, and then I do like a funny skit, and then I do my these are all my comic books, and TikTok allows you to put them in one at a time so that you can just it's easy transitions, so it doesn't require a whole lot of effort on your behalf. So TikTok is definitely my go-to.
Yeah, because I mean, I've talked to a couple people already, and like TikTok was never my friend at the beginning, especially when we started this. It was more YouTube centric. You'd find more people for me. Instagram's just whirlwind of. I said this in the last one too. It's like Instagram just hates the comic book community at some points.
Yeah.
Like there's like, dude, like you're posting this. Okay, we're gonna put this at the bottom of the shelf, kind of thing.
Yeah.
Now, when you're actually creating, are you the type? Because I know, for me, I need some kind of structure. Are you more of like, hey, I'm just gonna wing this and see how it goes, or are you more of the, hey, I kind of got like an outline and then I'm gonna go with these bullet points and then stick with that?
Yeah, my background in content creation being live streaming and pretty exclusively for a long time, I'm the type of dude, and I know this is horrible advice, but I like to wing stuff, man. I find it
Same.
You create some of the content that people are gonna remember, and you didn't even think you were gonna make it when you hit that record, when you hit start. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So I think coming off the top of the head and saying whatever pops into your heart. And again, that might not be for everybody, but that's what works best for me. And I think some of my best stuff is just off the top, and stuff that I didn't even mean to say. It just like slipped out. And I'm like, well, we're just gonna roll with that.
Yeah, trust me. I used to be like that for the first like 2-3 years. And then this past year, I've been more geared towards the idea of I have an outline at least, so I can work with something with that, because I'd be all over the place, man. We do 3 live shows a week. I know you caught probably a couple of them, but when we're doing those lives, it's brutal sometimes when you're like caught up in your own head and then you're talking about something and there's a side tangent that you're like, oh yeah, by the way, in this, and then you come back to your story that you were originally talking about, So I understand the concept of you sitting there being like, oh, this is some of my best work. But then you look at yourself and you're like, ugh, like, why did I spend 20 minutes on something that had to do with like cooking? Like, like this has nothing to do with what we're talking about.
Yeah. I would recommend when you're doing live streams, I do this a lot when I'm doing my live streams. I'll put sticky notes on my computer, and some of the sticky notes will be like, get back on topic, you idiot.
Because you just know at the end of the day, you're just like, I know once I get here, it's going to be bad.
Yeah, the ADHD is strong up here, man. It's
oh, trust me, I get that 100%. Now, I know for doing this for as long as kind of I know I'm not like the senior guy in doing this by any means necessary, but I am my own worst critic. Like I'll put stuff out, and looking back from the first podcast I did, I just cringe, but I'm heartfelt at the same time, because it's like I just started. Do you feel like your own worst critic when you're putting stuff out? Like, and how do you kind of navigate to get over that?
Yeah, I think, and this is advice I give to everybody that ever has asked me. I think it's important for you to always be your own biggest critic, but at the same time, always be your own biggest supporter as well. Because if you're only hung up on the negative things that you're doing, you're never going to spot the things that you're doing right. And then vice versa. If you're only hyping yourself up, if you're never being honest with yourself and really evaluating yourself, you're never going to get better. So I think it has to be an even mixture of your own biggest critic and your own biggest supporter.
Yeah. And that's a great point, because especially starting in this realm, I was always like, why am I is anyone even watching? Like, do they even care what I have to say? Like, you had that criticized part, but then when you see, like, when you're doing it live and you see those numbers, even if it's one person, you're like, I have a fan. I got to keep doing this for them no matter what. You know, like it drives you to a different ideal when you see those kind of things.
Yeah, and that's something my fiance has pointed out several times when I'm streaming, because I'll hit that go live button and there'll be no one in here, and I'm just yap 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 yap, and playing my game and talking and doing what I'm doing, and she's like walks by and she's like saying hi, like hi everybody. I'm like, oh, there's no one in here. I'm just talking to myself.
Yeah. At this point, it's me and my thoughts.
Yeah.
I've had that. I know. Now when you're relatively new, you said April, you kind of started this whole ordeal. Since then, have you ever had that experience? Because I know I have, of burnout and trying to push yourself through it. Have you ever encountered that yet? Or if you have, like, do you have any advice for anybody that has had that you could help out?
Yeah, I think so far doing comic books, I haven't really had a burnout yet because I'm new into the comic book realm. But as far as content creation burnout, I've noticed that I have a trend because I burn out. Like, I'll go hard in the paint. I'll stream every day for 200 days in a row, and then I won't stream again for a month. And I think the biggest reason for burnout in content creation is you start hyper focusing on results. You start looking, you're like, okay, I made this content and there's 300 views and 100 likes. By this point in time, I want to hit this many views and this many likes. And, you keep that measurement stick out, and then you get there and it's not where you want it to be. So you're like you were just saying, like, no one's even watching my stuff. What am I doing this for? I'm just talking to myself. And that really starts to wear you down. And I think that's probably, I would say probably the biggest reason for burnout that I've experienced, witnessed, and talking to, I have a Discord full of content creators. They're just not in the comic book realm, and all of them say the same thing. They start focusing on how many people are watching me right now. 5. Okay. Like, I've been doing this for a year and somebody else that's been doing it for a year has 1,000, right. I just need to quit because I suck. And you play the gambit in your head.
And a lot of it comes down to what I like to call the algorithm game, where we talked about it a little bit before we even started, where, you could post your first video and you'll get maybe 20 views if you're lucky. Then you see other people that make their first post, they do nothing different, and they're at 13,000, 20,000, and then they got already 1,000 subscribers or 1,000 followers. And I talked about this on my last episode. Was there's too many people chasing numbers and not having enough fun. Where I sat there when I first started, and I was chasing numbers, and I was like, well, why am I not hitting the same numbers I did last week? Why am I not doing this? Why am I not, why is it so much different? Where if you're having fun, you're being genuine, you're putting in the time, and you're putting in your own effort, and what's good, there shouldn't be a problem, Yeah,
and I think that's what you just said is probably the most important line in content creation is you have to be having fun with what you're doing, or you're guaranteed to burn out. If you're not enjoying, maybe not every aspect of what you're doing, but if you're not enjoying what you're doing on a daily basis, you're going to burn out. You're going to find something new that gains your interest. You're going to move on.
Yeah. And it's sad because there's a lot of people that I've talked to and seen and worked with. We've collabed with a lot of people that were great, but their numbers weren't there. So they decided just to give up. And it's like, don't do that. Like, you do amazing. You do better than me in content, but numbers aren't there. They'll be there. Like, don't worry about that. Like, there's people watching. Don't worry. It doesn't matter if it's 1 view or 1,000, Yeah.
Consistency and joy in what you're doing. All it requires is one lucky break. You make that one viral video. You have that one viral stream. You make one friend with one big content creator that puts your name out there. It takes that 1 second of you doing what you love and showing people what you're capable of doing, that 1 second could change your life.
Oh, 100%. Yeah, and it should go across the board for everybody. Is if anyone's watching this right now, it doesn't matter if you're just the one person or you're 50,000. Don't chase the numbers. It's not. It's just gonna rack your brain. But with that, I kind of want to get more into like your tastes, like in the comic book world and recommendations, if you don't mind. So with that being said, if you had to talk to someone that's just starting out, what would be 3 titles or story arcs, whatever it could be? It could be a trade, it could be single issues. What are 3 titles you would recommend to someone to jump into right now?
Oh man, that's easy for me. Because there's 3 comic books that are really like light years ahead of everybody else, in my opinion. Obviously, Bug Wars is my number one. I say it all the time. People are probably getting tired of hearing about it from me.
Seems like a trend, man. Trust me, I've been talking Bug Wars for a while.
It's great, man. He's killing it. But number 2 is definitely going to have to be Exquisite Corpses.
Oh, Tinian never misses, dude. It's insane.
Well, number 2 comes out Wednesday. So all 3 I'm going to talk about, actually, all 3 are releasing the next issue Wednesday. So Bug Wars, dang, I just said it.
Exquisite Corpses.
Exquisite Corpses, and then Battle Beast. Battle Beast is a spinoff of Invincible, but you don't have to really know anything about Invincible. I've never read Invincible. I watched the TV show, but Battle Beast, really, the first issue just really grabbed me, man. And I think all 3 of those kind of have a little bit of like an adult theme to them. They're all kind of gorier than, maybe like a Marvel comic. But I think all 3 of those are relatively new, so you can catch them at the beginning of the series. And all 3 of them are just a great example of what different genres of comic books can be.
Yeah, and from who I've talked to previously too, it seems like the same main 3 are what's up there. And Bug Wars definitely. Like, I know I heard an interview with oh my god, I'm blanking. Aaron oh my god, why am I blanking so hard? I have this problem all the Jason Aaron's. There we go. Jason Aaron's where he was talking about it, Bug Wars being an ongoing series, and then I'm looking and it's like, oh, it's only 6 issues. I don't know if it's a break. I don't know if it's,
it better be.
That's what I said too. But he even said, he's like, I got so much planned for this. And that's definitely one up there. Exquisite Corpses has been talked about since before that book came out. It's been talked about in that pipeline for like the last 6 months. Yeah. And there's hype behind it. Battle Beast, I have to say one thing about Battle Beast. A great concept, especially with the blind bag deal. Horrible execution. Horrible. Like you got, like I was talking about in the last one we did, it was like I saw like 3-4 separate people buy 50, 100, 200 blind bags, and they got the same issue 99 times out of 100. And it's like great cash grab, but you're not really focusing on the book at that point. You're focusing on just sales. You can't do that the entire run, But
I think from a marketing standpoint, I think they accomplished their goal from a marketing standpoint.
Mm-hmm. Oh, 100%.
But yeah, I agree with. I don't think they're doing a blind bag for like. I think they're just doing it for the first one, right? Again, I'm new, so.
Yeah, they're from what I've read and seen, they're doing it for the first one, but it was still the fact that like you can get that second issue in one of the blind bags.
Yeah, I didn't like that.
Yeah, and some people were so gunning for those variants and second issues that it got to the point where it's like, I don't even want to watch this anymore. It's just cringy. Yeah. Like you just opened 98 different bags, you got the same issue, and in the last 2 you got 2 different variants, and it just
Yeah, you asked me about burnout, and I'll tell you, man, I got to the point where I was scrolling TikTok, and if I saw somebody even say Battle Beast or blind bag, next. Like
Yeah.
I don't even want to see it anymore, man.
No, but like I said, it was a great idea.
Yeah, yeah.
It's just people took it too far to the extent of, well, I went to 5 different comic shops and got every issue of it. It's like,
That
did you really
gambling
need that?
addiction.
Yeah, yeah, no, it's good. But moving on, right now, since you're new, and like I said, it's an amazing thing to have someone that's so new into that community where we can hear the insight. Who are your top writer and who is your top artist right now in the game? Because for me, it can change weekly,
Yeah.
but I have my two that I've always geared towards. I was just wondering if you have your two right now.
Well, I mentioned Jason Aaron is my go-to writer right now. Like anytime I see him on there, I grab that book. Artist, I haven't really. I'm more of a story guy, even though it's comics. So
Mhm.
I do judge comics based off of their art, but I
Right.
haven't really got into the realm. But I will say, um, on TikTok, Dev Prominent, who is currently the artist for Fist of Khonshu.
Yes.
He did art for Spider-Man 2099, Dune. I got a couple of his trades specifically because he started commenting on my videos. He followed me. He's
Yeah.
messaging me, like we're having private conversations back and forth about comics and art and stuff like that. And he publishes art on TikTok, like once a week probably. He'll upload just the most wildest art that I couldn't even, like, the concept is just mind blowing.
Oh yeah.
And
No, I get that.
I'm maybe not necessarily because of his art, because I am so new that I haven't really grabbed enough of his stuff for it to stand out. But I do really like everything I've seen of his,
Mhm.
and just him doing that was just spoke volumes to me about the type of person he is. And I want more of whatever he's making, whatever his name is attached to. I'm gonna get it from now on. Be honest with you.
Yeah, and that's more what I was trying to get to is like there's certain people that will stick with you. There's certain writers that you'll gear towards because of the fact that they relate in a certain way. And there's artists that do the same thing, even if it's on an emotional standpoint or a mental standpoint. They bring that emotion out through the art.
Mhm.
And a lot of people will sit there and say, well, mine can change weekly, depending on who's coming out. Well, with somebody that's just getting into this, that might not be the point. It might be more of, hey, like, this is who I got. This is what I bought because of them. And now I'm going to stick with them forever.
Oh yeah, yeah, and um, writers. I think I'm still too new to kind of have, like. Again, I'm a big fan of everything that I've read of his so far, but I haven't read I haven't even put a dent in what Jason Aaron has done. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I haven't even put a dent in what he's done. So I'm just going off of what I have read of his, and he definitely stands out. And Dev Prominent, again, he great artist, but like you just said, I'm more emotionally attached to it because
Mhm.
of his character as a person. And that's, I mean, again, starting out and already having somebody reaching out to me, the little guy, I'm just
Right.
like, dude. I support you from here on out, man.
Yeah. It's like you have my number now. Like,
Exactly.
let's just talk. Let's do this. Speaking of, jumping out to that community, this whole, you know, addicted, group of friends that we like to say on all sorts of social medias, is there any that are lesser known that you might want to shout out right now to say, hey, go check them out too, so that way they can get a little bit more recognition as well?
Yeah. I mean, there's a handful, and they might watch this and be like, "Yo, why didn't you shout me out?" But
Not to put you on
uh,
a spot or anything, but I'm definitely putting you on a spot.
yeah. I mean, there's one specifically, and you're gonna have him on your show here coming up. But I'm so white and nerdy, dude. He is a different character. He stands out to me like there's nobody else doing what he's doing. There's nobody that talks like him.
Mhm.
He is an entertainer, very knowledgeable. He makes his videos specifically to inform people of, like, people will post on his videos like, where do I start on Green Lantern? So he'll take that comment and make a whole like 3-minute video, and it's entertaining. It's not just like, oh, you should read Green Lantern, and there's nothing wrong with people that, that do that. They just don't grab my attention and stand out. But he's so high strung and just, I think, I don't know exactly how old he is. I think he's like in his early 20s, college student.
Yeah. I think he said he was 22.
Yeah. He's so entertaining and just like high strung. You can't help but want to watch everything he's doing.
Yeah. I can't wait to jump on that one. Same thing with, Blue Jack.
Blue Jack is very entertaining also.
He'll be on at some point this week.
Fire Lord Caleb.
Yeah, Fire Lord Caleb.
Here's one you're not even, I don't even know if you've talked to him yet, but on my nerd shit. He's an old head like me. But very entertaining. He kind of started a little bit of a trend here recently on TikTok with he was dancing to a song, waving around his absolute Batman. I think it was Batman. And then people were like clipping it and dancing with him and stuff like that. So it kind of caught on, but he's very entertaining also.
Yeah, and like I said, ladies and gentlemen, there are so many great creators out there that you're not seeing because they just fall under the radar. Mm-hmm. And that's what this is here for, is to make sure that we can cover everybody that you need to see. So getting into your content more, is there we kind of talked about it, touched on it a little bit, but is there a more of a rewarding or memorable interaction you've had as a content creator? Like, was there something that sticks out to you that you're just proud of?
Yeah. Again, I can't speak as far as like comic book content creation, but speaking of my overall arcing, I've had conversations with people that, you build this relationship with people to where even though you're only talking about stuff at a short lengths on, whatever platform you're on, if you're alive, you speak to them for maybe an hour or two. If you're creating a TikTok or a YouTube short or Instagram, you talk to them through a couple of messages here and there. But I've had people that have, I have he's a close friend of mine now. Mm-hmm. But when I first started streaming on Twitch like 10 years ago, he was one of my first mods, and he went through an incident where his house burned down. He was like horribly injured. He lost everything. His dog died. He went through the ringer, and I was able to do like a fundraiser stream, and we raised, it wasn't life-changing amount, but we raised a couple $100 for him to send to him to help him get back on his feet, maybe, gas in the car to get to work, whatever.
Right.
But moments like that, and that one is always going to stick with me because that was the first time I was able to do something that big. But moments like that are just like one of the best feelings as a creator, to be able to help somebody that is a good person and really needs somebody to be an advocate for what they're going through.
Yeah, and dude, applaud to you on that one, because there's not a lot of people out there that will sit there and kind of do that. Most people will sit there and talk about like maybe another creator or comic book, legend reaching out to them or whatever it may be, but no one can really sit there and really say that I was able to help out somebody else, and that's my moment. So kudos to that, man.
Yeah, it's man, I think that's, everybody wants to be a star of some kind, and I think everybody gets hung up on the accolades of being a star, but nobody really thinks about what it was like before they became this. And I'm not saying I'm a star, but like on the journey, the journey to the top,
right?
You start out at the bottom and you're like reaching for the people at the top, like, hey, send me a shout out, give me this, help me out with this, blah, 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 blah. Mm-hmm. And then once you start working your way up, everybody's still focusing on the top, man. But you got to remember, there's still people that helped you get to where you're at, and then people that are just supporting you maintain where you're at and grow. So it's always just such a great feeling to be able to help or do something or be there for people like that. I think a lot of people, like you just said, a lot of people should definitely add that to their toolbox.
Yeah, it's a hard find, but it's a find nonetheless. Like, just meeting you, like, you can just tell, like, you're more of I'm the giver rather than, let's just say Jason Aaron's like my post one time, and then move forward.
Yeah. I mean, those are still cool ass moments though.
Yeah. Like I think I was talking on the last episode, like I had 0 likes on anything on Instagram because I posted something about Jeff Johns, and he's the only person that liked it. Like, that's something that'll stick with you
Yeah, that's a
forever. You know what I mean?
great feeling.
Now, within the community, or even like the comic book creator world, like writers, artists, and or anything like that, is there like a collab you have a dream of doing with somebody? Like, it could be like another TikToker, Instagrammer, YouTuber, comic book writer, comic book artist, letterer. The list can go on.
I'm doing it right now.
Well, thank you.
No, I mean, I don't know. I don't really like idolize anybody, I guess is the right thing. I don't have I'm cool with if you have one viewer and you reach out to me and you're like, "Hey dude, let's do something," and I think it's a good idea, I'm going to do it. If you got 1,000,000 viewers and you're like, "Yo, let's go freaking, record us throwing eggs at homeless people," I'm going to be like, "Nah, man. I don't care how big you are." You know what I mean? So there's nobody that's like out of the spectrum as long as I think it's a good idea.
Right. No, and it agreed. There's always that negative and positive side to what we do. And to find the people that will bring you up rather than tear you down, or others in that, same mind frame, is few and far between, I would say. And, with that being said too, when you're on TikTok or Instagram, do you find the sense of community being positive or negative? Like, is there some spaces that you feel like, hey, this is where we can branch out, this is the most positive comic community space we have, or is there more of a negative side to others?
Yeah, I really and this is through effort, it's not just by mistake. I really try to surround myself with cool, upbeat people that aren't going out there and creating hate videos and flame. And everybody makes like spoof, like I was saying, like I can bring up I'm So White and Nerdy, right? Like
Right.
he did a video where he was making fun of people that are obsessed with Batman, right? But it was funny. It wasn't in bad taste. It wasn't like hateful, nothing like that. And I appreciate that kind of stuff. And the comic book community on TikTok, the side that I'm on, has been really great. But I will say that the power scalers, the people that like argue over, oh, Batman could beat this guy, or
with
nobody
prep time.
could, yeah, with prep time. Yeah, always got to throw that out there. Or this anime character could beat this action figure. That stuff. Those people get really heated really quick, and then shit hits the fan, and you're just like, bro, I gotta get out of here. Like, I'm starting to get heated, and I don't even know what y'all are talking about.
Yeah, it's those hot takes that just it just turns a lot of people off. Like I get it if you're talking in the comic book realm of first appearances versus cameos, or if you're talking, what sold the best and their statistics behind it. But when you're just putting out a hot take to put a hot take out, you don't have any facts behind it. It's just your opinion. And yeah, you can have your opinion and it's great. Don't worry. Like, I know people that hate what I read, and I read a variety of everything.
Yeah.
But then I champion them too, saying, hey, dude, like, you get 2 books a month. You love them. Like, I don't have anything geared towards you for that. Like, that's your area of expertise. Mine's just different. There's no fact to it, but it's based on opinion.
That's one thing that I do appreciate about comic books is there's something for everybody in comic books. Whether you like Barbie dolls, or you like combat, or you like action figures, you like Godzilla, there's something out there for everybody. And something I love about it is everybody, loves something different. And I appreciate that, just because I didn't like what the R.L. Stine book that he published.
The Graveyard Club.
I thought that was the worst comic book I've read so far. Right.
Yeah.
But I know people that really liked it and can't wait to get more. And I'm like, dude, that's awesome that you liked it, because R.L. Stine didn't just, crap out a comic book and be like, yeah, whatever. He put time and effort into that. And I think that's awesome that people do like what he's making, and I support that. I appreciate that.
Yeah, going from Goosebumps to comics is a totally different transition too. People got to realize that nostalgia might be there because of the fact that it's R.L. Stine. You read Goosebumps back in the 90s and have everything. But, to jump into the comic book realm, it's a different breed, man.
Yeah.
Like, it's 100%. So I want to wrap this up. Thank you so much for your time. I have 2 questions left for you. So first one being, what is next for you on this journey? Is there something that you want to try? Is there something you want to change? Is there a new video topic or format you want to do? Let the people know.
Like I was saying, I really want to get back into creating, because I have other accounts on TikTok and they're focused on comedy. And that's my forte. I really love making people laugh. So I'm really trying to gear more. I'm still doing my daily uploads every morning, reviewing the handful of comic books I read the night before. I want to continue doing that, but I want to start adding comedy skits into the comic book realm and adding that into the list of things that I do.
Yeah, and trust me, man, if you can make someone laugh, you got a friend for life there.
Yep.
Now, last question, and this is a biggie. So if you want to think it through, by all means, go ahead. But is there a word of advice, a quote, encouragement for someone watching this right now that wants to start content creating but is too afraid to?
Absolutely, man. Start now. Don't go, oh, I'm going to do it tomorrow. Oh, this Saturday. Do it now. Make it now. Publish it now. If you haven't done anything, the best thing you can do is do it now. And then look back tomorrow, look back at what you did today. How can I improve that? Then be honest with yourself, like we talked about earlier. Be your own biggest critic and your own biggest supporter. What did I do right in this video? What did I do wrong? Continue doing the right, change what you did wrong, and keep evolving. Don't get stagnant. Don't keep making the same exact content over. It might blow up quick at first, but it's going to die out just like any other fad. But start now.
Yeah, that is a great piece of advice for anyone that is out there even thinking about doing this and is too afraid to. Just hit that play button, hit that record and just upload. And you don't know, tomorrow could be a different day for you. But Brandon, again, man, thank you so much for taking the time out. Ladies and gentlemen, go check out Brandon over on TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube at BSoloBooks. You're missing out if you're not. He puts out amazing content, amazing reviews. He shows you everything new, and you get the perspective of a new reader and a new comic community member just from the start. So thank you again, Brandon. Ladies and gentlemen, go hit that like, follow, subscribe, whatever you need to do for him. Help him build his community too. So with that being said, guys, thank you for watching. Brandon, thank you again for your time. And we all will see you in the next one. Hey, coders, if you like that, give us a subscribe. And if you want more content like that, definitely check out the videos above. Hope you enjoy it. There's a lot for everyone.